Connie Kaminsky, you're under arrest. Show me your hands. Show 'em!
Yep, that's me, Connie Kaminsky.
I was arrested in Phoenix, Arizona. As the cops broke into my house, my mind rewound to how it all began. You may not recognize me. My name is Connie. I used to be a 3-time Olympic gold medalist in race walking. Yes, the sport where you walk faster than most people run. Too bad the gold medals didn't make me rich or give me real fame. After I retired, I married Rick, an IRS auditor. Sounds stable, right? But our lives were more broken than we could have imagined.
And his job is to look for people's mistakes.
We'd always wanted kids, but my body just wouldn't cooperate. We spent so much money on treatments, and I finally got pregnant, but I lost the baby. Rick didn't argue with me. He just got cold and distant. He started traveling frequently for work, spending less than a week at home each month. Even when he was home, he was cold and sarcastic. He would mock me for not having a job, scold me for wasting money on therapy, and laugh at me for collecting coupons and hoarding groceries to save a few bucks. He didn't understand that those coupons were my way of holding on to the last shred of control in my life. But there was light. While Rick was away, I met my neighbor, JoJo. She was a blogger who ran a money-saving channel and loved collecting coupons. She lived with her mom, Josie, and they were struggling too. She tried selling makeup and flirting with the mailman, Earl. She lived bolder and freer than I did.
Yes.
Every time I go to the supermarket, I hand over dozens of coupons to the cashier, watching the bill drop from over $100 to just a few dollars. It feels like I've won the world. I always said,
Watch the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves.
This slogan became the footnote of my later life. That day, I was alone, sorting through a long-hoarded supply of food. I mechanically arranged the boxes of cereal, trying to convince myself that this wasn't a sign of an empty life, but a sign of control. Without thinking, I looked up and my eyes passed through the peeling baby wallpaper and I felt a sharp pain in my heart, and I completely lost it. I couldn't hold it together any longer. I slumped to the floor and grabbed a whole box of corn cereal. I didn't even bother to get a bowl or spoon. I just ripped open the box, trying to fill the huge hole in my heart with cheap sugar and the sound of chewing. But on the third bite, I frowned. The taste was off. I looked down at the package and saw that it had expired 3 months ago. Fuming, I turned on my computer and, teeth gritted, wrote a scathing letter of complaint, as if I were roaring at the whole world. A few days later, I received a response from the manufacturer. A letterhead with the company logo was filled with apologies. We regret your experience, and we take every customer's feedback seriously. The envelope also included a free coupon for a future purchase of any product. It was that little coupon that gave me an idea that would change my life. The cashier said coldly when she saw the coupon,
You're not special. They always send you coupons for free shit when you bitch to the manufacturer.
At that moment, my head was like an electric shock. If I could get a coupon by complaining, I could get 100 that way. I started writing to brands, making up reasons. The product was broken, it smelled funny, the packaging was damaged. Even if it was perfect, I could find something wrong. They'd send me free coupons. They piled up like chips in a sudden game of chance. I told JoJo this little secret. I just wanted to share my little cleverness with her, a kind of sisterly show-off, like saying, hey, you know what? Sometimes the world turns a blind eye to us housewives. But after she heard that, her eyes got wider than the tortillas on TV. She was so shocked that she offered to buy a coupon from me. At that moment, it was as if a bolt of lightning had flashed through my mind. Oh my goodness. What I held in my hand wasn't paper or some token gift from a company to placate a customer. It was cash. Pure profit. No inventory, no overhead, no haggling. All I had to do was sit in front of my computer and write a few paragraphs of consumer outrage, and I'd have something people were willing to pay for. I could turn this into a business. Our investigation found that these coupons came from a printing factory in Mexico, not far from us. I proposed to go there and get a batch of real coupons. JoJo was scared at first, but she was in debt, so she finally nodded. The next day, JoJo and I were in Mexico. We stood outside the secret factory and watched the workers leave. We quickly spotted our targets in the crowd, Alejandro and Rosa. A couple I could tell at a glance were a little off, but not dangerous. They were living on a shoestring, and Rosa was pregnant. I proposed we go into partnership. Alejandro hesitated at first, his brow almost nodding. I understood him. It wasn't a small thing. But Rosa broke his silence. For the kids, they were willing to take the risk. The plan wasn't complicated. Alejandro worked in the printing department, Rosa in the redemption department. The two departments rarely interacted. They stole the destroyed coupons, smuggled them out in the shipping trucks, and mailed them to us. Customs would just assume the boxes were normal printing materials. Who would care about a coupon? A few days later, we received our first box. My heart raced faster than it did the first time I drank beer in high school as I tore through the shiny stack of paper. I knew what this meant. This was a way out. A way to stop being the little guy pinching pennies and start being the one who controlled the game. We built a website and advertised on the channels. The business was amazing. Orders came in like a flood, and we made a fortune. The supermarket began to notice something was wrong. The cash register system was constantly beeping. The back office accounts were in disarray, and managers from all over the country were writing and calling headquarters. They complained that the problem of fake coupons was getting worse, and all this soon caught the attention of one man, Ken. Ken is a stickler to the bone. He found the fake coupons in Nevada and investigated like Sherlock Holmes. He finally tracked down a housewife who used the fake coupons. When he asked her where she got the coupons, she looked confused and said she saw a black woman on YouTube promoting a money-saving website where you could buy limited coupons. He immediately opened the website and discovered our secret. Meanwhile, our PayPal account was frozen. My heart was in my throat. The reason was simple. We were making too much money. Too fast. That was the problem. The system wanted us to prove that this was a legitimate business. But how were we supposed to do that? Jojo panicked. I had to stay calm. We called Tina, a hacker with a short fuse and a long list of skills. She told us we were being too flashy. She said we were crazy. We were asking to get caught. Tina came up with a systematic cleaning plan. We needed a cover identity, a legitimate way to move money, and time. She would get us a stack of fake IDs, multiple bank accounts, and a safe house to lay low in. Her cut was 10% of the take. For me, it was a lifesaver. We said yes. She gave us an encrypted USB drive and said all important files had to be stored there and nowhere else. And just like that, Tina wiped our digital fingerprints clean. Ken, the loss prevention guy, couldn't find anything. He got so angry he called the FBI, but they didn't take it seriously. They just assigned the case to a board clerk named Albert. That gave us plenty of time. We used JoJo's Cosmetics brand as a cover and restarted the coupon scam under the false identity Tina provided. This time, no one knows it's us. I remembered Rick once told me about a client who laundered money by buying and reselling expensive items. So JoJo and I went on a shopping spree. Sports cars, yachts, private jets, and even guns. Real guns. We even celebrated in Las Vegas, dreaming of our future. I told myself, I don't need Rick for this IVF. I chose a donor. Tina suddenly came back to question us again, saying we were crazy and asking why we spent so much money. We explained that we understood her money laundering logic, but now we had to resell those things and then slowly put the money back into the bank. She was furious, but there was nothing she could do. We had come this far. Ken didn't give up. He went to the FBI. They passed the case to a newbie named Albert. This guy was a real stickler. He traced it back to us, using regular mail to send out the coupons. So he brought in Postal Inspector Simon to help him. On the day I went for in vitro fertilization, JoJo accompanied me. The doctor said it was my last chance. I nodded. With or without Rick, I was going to be a mother. This time, no hesitation. But nightmares always creep up on you when you least expect them. Ken and Simon were like bloodhounds. They tracked me down. They found the cashier, who recognized my catchphrase, penny wise, pound foolish. How ironic that it was the clue that gave me away. Then they zeroed in on the post office, grilled every employee, and finally fingered Earl. The poor guy just loved JoJo's channel. And us? We were selling like hotcakes, even trying to sell to gun clubs. JoJo was so good at talking that he cleared out our inventory in one go. But we didn't know that danger was just around the corner. Earl was taken for a secret interrogation. He was tight-lipped, but he managed to send a warning letter to save our lives. Meanwhile, Ken and Simon had been waiting for us at our door for a long time. The next day, JoJo went out as usual, without even looking at the letter, and I went to the warehouse. Then Simon saw me. He recognized me, the blonde woman, the coupon crazy they had been chasing. All our identities, false accounts, and dummy companies were exposed one by one. Those disguises we had carefully designed and thought were flawless were vulnerable under the siege of postal agents. I know it's all over now. But you know what? I don't regret it. Not the money, not the luxury. Because for the first time, I did something that wasn't for Rick, wasn't for the gold medal, wasn't to please anyone else. It was for me. I want kids. I want a life. Even if it's the wrong way, even if it's the wrong method, even if it's a joke in the end, I'm not going to be passive anymore. Because that was the first time I truly had power of my own. This is my story, my discount life.